it's not a situation that's propitious for them, and the more they do this, I think the more there'll be to pay at some point. But you can't say you're going to be a world power while you run the country into the ground.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. They had the greatest engine. Even if we were going to have a corrupt New World Order system, we had the big empire, the wealth, the power, and they, just like a third world country, they're just looting it. So even from a position of wanting to have long-term power, it looks like what they're doing is bad.
That's right. You can't be a powerhouse if the rulers are running the country into the ground. The two things are incompatible. So,
why was that decision made to do that? It wasn't done in the past in U.S. history.
I don't know. I just don't know, Alex. They don't call me up and tell me. I don't know. The things that have happened don't make a lot of sense, and they don't really lead to any good result, even for the people doing it. So, whether it's hubris, arrogance, hubris, stupidity, why in the world did Napoleon march off into Russia? There was no reason for him to do that.
Why did Hitler go to North Africa?
Well, yeah, and why did he march off into Russia? I mean, people do things that are stupid, and they get drunk and drive their car and crash and kill a bunch of people, and I mean, it's just why they do things.
Well, I guess it's because, like the PNAC said, we got the power. Why not go for global domination? And that's what they're doing. And I think they're just so arrogant with all their hookers and money and power and all the yes men that I think they really still think that they're unstoppable.
Don't you think global domination came to an end in Georgia? It took the Russian soldiers a few hours to clear out the army we had trained and equipped. And don't you think it's come to an end in Afghanistan?
What about Israel and Hezbollah?
And Iraq, and Israel has tried twice to defeat Hezbollah and failed. And I don't know. I don't think we're going to be able to dominate anything, and I think that's what the meeting on November 15th is about. The Europeans and the rest are going to tell us that we're going to dominate less. Fewer things.
What do you see happening to the dollar when they do that?
Well, it'll be part of saving the dollar. It'll be part of, the dollar is going to be saved by being reduced. It can't go on like it is. The Chinese themselves said, one of my columns a week or so ago, I was quoting what the Chinese had to say about the dollar and all this, and they said, why in the world are we lending to the Americans so they can go on forever deeper in debt? And so everybody sees it, and I think the financial crisis has sort of made them think that it's time for them to rein it in. Obviously, the Americans aren't smart enough or willing to, so the rest of the world is going to rein it in, I think. I think that's what is. And it'll take a while. It won't happen immediately. And people will be excited. The Bush is gone, and they've got Obama, and he's the first black American, and this proves the Americans aren't as racist as we thought, and maybe they're better in other ways than we thought, and maybe we need to give them a second chance.
But won't that goodwill turn into bitter poison if Obama pulls a bunch of stunts?
Right, it will. It will, and if it turns into bitter poison before they've rescued us, then we're really going to have hard times here. Look, if you've got $1 trillion budget deficit and foreigners won't lend you money, how do you finance it? You have to print money. And then you get into Weimar Germany. Now, how powerful was the Weimar Germany government? It wasn't powerful at all because it inflated everybody into nothing, and people hated it.
Well, a lot of economists say we've already done enough printing to pretty much cause that a few years down the road.
Well, no, nothing like what would be if they have to print the money to pay their bills. if they can't any longer borrow from the Arabs and the Chinese and the Japanese, and even the Russians. I mean, the Russians owned $100 billion of our Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac mortgages. I mean, even the Russians are financing Americans' mortgages. I mean, the Chinese held $400 billion of American mortgages. So we can't even buy our own houses without foreign financing.
All right.
This is true. I mean, you have to realize it's not a superpower. It's a financially dependent country being run into the ground by a bunch of shysters.
No, I agree. And then, well...
So, I don't think Obama will bring change, but I think the financial deterioration of the United States will bring change, and I can't say what that change is going to be, whether we're going to pull our boots up and get to work in the right way, or whether we're going to end up in some kind of a worse pickle.
All right, Dr. Roberts, The Tyranny of Good Intentions is the book. Get it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alex. Goodbye.